Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to get an idea about organizations for international trade promotion. Know the concept of international trade. Learn about the need of organizations for international trade promotion. Identify and evaluate the major organizations for international trade promotion around the globe. Institutions play a crucial role in our life, starting from the family to educational and religious institutions, so and so forth. They are with us all the time. The world economic order is no different. It is supported by various institutions in varied forms. Also, there are various pillars on support of which an economy stands and functions. International trade is one such building block. In nutshell, international trade is a stepping stone of our modern commercial world. The producers in various nations are aiming to profit by an expanding reach to various markets rather than be limited to selling within their own borders. Hence, in order to promote international trade, it is crucial to have institutions that focus on the same with strong fundamentals. This unit will help you in learning about such organizations of international importance that assist in free flow of international trade. First of all, let us look at the concept of international trade. Across international borders or territories, the exchange of capital goods and services involving the government and individual activities is termed as international trade. Simply stating, buying and selling of services and goods across the borders of a nation can be termed as international trade. Foreign trade or international trade has deep-seated foundations. It has an elaborate history, whether be it in form of Silk Road, Amber Road, Salt Road or exchange of gold for spices. Recent centuries have seen great rise in its importance economically, socially and politically. An appropriate level of stability and geopolitical peace prevails so as to permit exchange of trade and commerce to take place between nations peacefully. This happens to be a precondition of trading internationally. The international trade system sees a major impact of industrialization, advanced technology, including globalization, transportation, outsourcing and multinational corporations. It is crucial to keep the pace of international trade up for continuous growth of each and every economy. If international trade did not exist, the variety would be limited to domestic borders. Coming to the need of organizations for international trade promotion. A varied range of valuable benefits are brought to a country by international trade, including it allows a nation to exploit its comparative advantage. The trade brings with it competition, leading to lowering of world prices, benefiting consumers by raising the purchasing power of their own income. Trade also breaks down domestic monopolies which face competition from more efficient foreign firms. The quality of goods and services is likely to increase as competition encourages innovation. Trade will also encourage the transfer of technology between countries. Trade is also likely to increase employment, given that employment is closely related to production. It enhances the domestic competitiveness. It enhances the scope of expansion of business. It leads to reduction of dependence on markets that already exist, and it stabilizes seasonal market fluctuations. And there are many more of such advantages that trade provide a nation with. But in order to reap these advantages, there is a need for a binding force, a force that can help in bringing everything together and functioning in harmony. Such is the role played by organizations for international trade promotion. Hence, the need for such organizations arises. Also, they assist developing nations in accessing better technology and participate in trade by fair means. Now let us discuss major organizations for international trade promotion around the globe. The chart below presents a brief look of the various organizations that work at the international level. Here we discuss each of them in turn to get a better understanding of each one of them. This chart shows a few institutions like General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, World Trade Organization, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, the European Free Trade Association, International Trade Center, World Customs Organization, Asian Trade Promotion Forum, Domestic Trade Promotion Organizations, and the case study of ITPOs. Below we discuss all of these institutions in detail and enlist their characteristics. Coming to GATT. General Agreement on Tariff and Trade marks the beginning of large-scale trade negotiations multilaterally. Its preamble states that the sole purpose of its establishment lies in reducing tariffs and reduction of other trade-related barriers substantially and the elimination of preferences on a mutually advantageous and reciprocal basis. It was formed as a result of the failure of the government negotiations to create the International Trade Organization, that is ITO. It was during the United Nations Conference on Trade and Employment and GATT, signed by 23 nations in Geneva on October 30, 1947, that it was formed and took effect on January 1, 1948. It lasted until April 14, 1994, when 123 nations signed the agreements during Uruguay round in Marrakesh, which established the World Trade Organization or WTO on January 1, 1995. The GATT text, that is GATT 1947, which was originally formulated, is still in effect under the WTO framework, although it has been subjected to the modifications. 5 key principles in GATT are trade barriers should be lowered in general and quotas should be eliminated. Trade barriers should be applied on most favored nation basis, no discrimination among trading partners, national treatment, imported goods treated same as the domestic goods, tariff concessions once made cannot be rescinded without compensating trade partners, and erection of new barriers is not possible to replace lower tariffs, consultation for settlement of trade disputes. Major rounds of GATT negotiations. The table here presents a brief of the few of GATT negotiations. The first one was conducted in 1947 at Geneva. Then the second in 1949 at Annecy, then third in 1950 Tokyo, fourth 1956 in Geneva, then fifth in 1960 in Dillon, then sixth in 1964 Kennedy, seventh 1973 in Tokyo, eighth in 1986 in Uruguay, and ninth in 2001 in Doha. In 1986 to 93, over 100 nations participated in Uruguay, that is 8th round, which turned out to be very contentious because issues went far beyond tariff reduction, non-tariff barriers, intellectual property rights, service trade and agricultural policies. Improving how GATT functions created WTO as successor to GATT beginning in 1995. World Trade Organization, an intergovernmental organization, the World Trade Organization or WTO, which regulates the international trade. Signed by 123 nations on 15th April 1994, replacing the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. Officially under the Marrakesh Agreement, the WTO came into being on 1st January 1995. Regulation of trade among countries who are participating by provision of a customized structure for negotiating trade agreements and a resolving of dispute process aimed at entrusting in the participants of their adherence to WTO agreements that they signed by means of representatives of member governments and was also ratified by their respective parliaments. A major part of the issues that are focused by WTO are the derivatives of the previous negotiations on trade, most emphasis being on the Uruguay round of 1986 to 1994. The two main roles of GATT are continued by WTO, which include enforcing existing agreements of trade and serving as a forum for new talks to liberalize trade. The most important functions of WTO, among many others, are as under. It oversees the implementation, administration and operation of the covered agreements. Secondly, it provides a forum for negotiations and for settling disputes. The Ministerial Conference is the top decision-making body of the WTO. There have been 9 conferences from 1996 to 2013, usually every 2 years. So this can be seen from this table, which shows these ministerial conferences. The first one was held in Singapore 9 to 13 December 96, the second one in 1998 in Geneva, then in 1999 in Seattle, then 2001 in Doha, 2003 Cancun, 2005 in Hong Kong, 2009 in 2011 again in Geneva, then 2013 in Bali, and in 2015 it was supposed to be held in Nairobi. United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It comprises of 194 member states. Its main responsibility lies in dealing with issues relating to development, in particular international trade, which is considered to be one of the main drivers of development. Think, debate and deliver sum up its major works. It often produces innovative analysis forming the very basis of recommendations to economic policy makers. Informed decision-making process and promotion of the macroeconomic policies best suited to ending global economic inequalities and to generating people-centered sustainable development is its aim. A forum, the UNCTAD, where representatives of all countries can without hesitation indulge in dialogue and brainstorm on ways by which a better balance can be brought in the global economy. Direct technical assistance is offered by UNCTAD to developing countries and countries with economies in transition to assist them in building the capacities. The ministerial level meetings are held by UNCTAD every 4. Also, discussions are held with civil society, which includes the likes of annual symposiums where members of the public can express their views and interact with country representatives. In every 2 years, the World Investment Forum is organized by UNCTAD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Group of developed countries dedicated to promoting economic expansion in its member nations. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, is an international economic organization of 34 countries founded in 1961 for the stimulation of world trade and economic progress. It acts as a platform for countries so as to allow themselves to represent as committed to democracy and the market economy, identify good practices, providing a forum or the comparison of policy experiences. Seeking solution to commonly faced problems and coordination of domestic and international policies of its members is another area that it deals with. In 1948, the OECD originated the Organization for European Economic Cooperation, that is OEEC, led by Robert Marjolin of France to help administer the Marshall Plan, which was rejected by the Soviet Union and its satellite states. Reformed in 1961 into the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development by the Convention on the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Extension of its membership to non-European states also took place at that time. High income and high human development index is a common characteristic of most OECD member countries. Such policies are promoted by OECD, which are designed to cater to the below said, that is to attain the peak of sustainable economic growth and employment and a rising standard of living. For making a contribution to well-established economic expansion in both members and non-member so as to aid the process of economic development. For making a contribution towards the enhancement of world trade on a non-discriminatory basis in accordance with international obligations multilaterally. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC. A regional economic forum, the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC, came into being in 1989 for the leveraging of the growing interdependence of the Asia Pacific. 21 members constitute the APEC and they have a common aim of inculcating greater prosperity for the people of the region by promoting balanced, inclusive, sustainable, innovative and secure growth and by accelerating regional economic integration. Based in Singapore, a permanent secretariat of the APEC supports all its processes. Economies is the word used to describe APEC members, APEC being a cooperative process being predominantly concerned with trade and economic issues. It ensures that services, goods, people and investment travel with ease across borders. Operating as a cooperative, multilateral economic and trade forum, the APEC allows its member economies participate on basis of open dialogue and respect for views of all participants. Consensus and equal say to all economies is the guiding principle of the decision-making process of APEC. There are no binding commitments or treaty obligations. Commitments are undertaken on a voluntary basis and capacity building projects help members implement APEC initiatives. APEC structure is based on both a bottom-up and top-down approach. 4 core committees and their respective working groups constitute the APEC, providing strategic policy recommendations to APEC leaders and ministers whose major concern is to set the vision for overarching roles and initiatives annually. The European Free Trade Association or EFTA. On 4th January 1960, in the Swedish capital, during the Stockholm Convention, the EFTA was brought to life, signed by 7 countries known as Outer 7. Consisting of 4 parallelly operating European countries with and is linked to the European Union, the EFTA is a common market, a group of countries imposing few or no duties on trade with one another and a common tariff on trade with other countries. Established as a trade bloc alternative, the EFTA for European states who were either unwilling or unable to become a part of the then European Economic Community or EEC, which has now become the European Union. Today's EFTA comprises of Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland, Norway and Switzerland being founder members. Free trade agreements have been jointly concluded by EFTA members with a number of other countries. Presently, all members of EFTA take part in the European Union's single market by way of agreement on a European Economic Area, which includes Iceland, Liechtenstein and Norway. A set of bilateral agreements with Switzerland. This leads to the promotion of EFTA states to modernize their convention to ensure it continues to provide a successful framework for the expansion and liberalization of trade among themselves and with rest of the world. The current members. We have a contracting party, the date of accession and the capital. So here we have a number of countries like Iceland, Principality of Liechtenstein, Kingdom of Norway and Swiss Confederation. The International Trade Center, a subsidiary organization of World Trade Organization and the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development that provides technical assistance related to trade. ITC's mandate is far narrower as it is solely concerned with helping developing and transition economies to promote their exports. Geneva is the headquarters and it has one field office in Mexico City. ITC succeeds the International Trade Information Center, which the GATT had established in 1964 for assisting the export promotion efforts of the developing countries by means of provision of information on export markets and marketing, and for helping them develop their export promotion services and train the personnel needed for these services. By means of agreement reached in 1967, the ITC was officially established on 1st January 1968. ITC created a suite of market analysis tools including trade map and interactive outline database on international trade statistics, market access map and standards map to help users investigate the territories related information of over 220 countries and territories owing to the support from donors to ITC, Trust Fund and the European Commission. Since the 1st January 2008, the market analysis tools suite became a global public goods and all users from least developed and developing countries and territories have been able to access the tools free of charge. The World Customs Organization or WCO. It is an intergovernmental organization headquartered in Brussels, Belgium. The WCO is noted for its work in areas covering the development of international conventions, instruments and tools on topics such as commodity classification, valuation, rules of origin, collection of customs revenue, supply chain security, international trade facilitation, custom enforcement activities, combating counterfeiting in support of intellectual property rights, integrity promotion and delivering sustainable capacity building to assist with customs reforms and modernization. The WCO maintains the international harmonized system, that is HS goods nomenclature, and administers the technical aspects of WTO agreements on customs valuation and rules of origin. 13 European countries in 1947 set up a study group for the examination of custom issues as identified by GATT. This resulted in the adoption of the convention establishing the Customs Cooperation Council, that is CCC, in 1948, which was signed in Brussels. On January 26, 1953, with the participation of 17 founding members, CCC's inaugural session took place. Subsequently, WCO's membership expanded. It was in 1994 that the World Customs Organization was adopted. Internationally acknowledged as the global center of customs expertise, the WCO plays a leading role in the discussion, development, promotion and implementation of modern customs systems and procedures. It is responsive to the needs of its members and its strategic environment, and its instruments and best practices approaches are recognized as the basis for sound customs administration throughout the world. To enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of member customs administrations, thereby assisting them to contribute successfully to national development goals, particularly revenue collection, national security, trade facilitation, community protection, and collection of trade statistics is its primary objective. In order to achieve its objectives, the WCO has adopted a number of customs instruments including but not limited to the following: the International Convention on Harmonized Commodity Description and Coding System, that is HS Convention, was adopted in 1983 and came into force in 1988. The HS multipurpose goods nomenclature is used as the basis for customs tariff and for the compilation of international trade statistics. It consists of about 5,000 commodity groups, each identified by a 6-digit code arranged in a legal and logical structure with well-defined rules to achieve uniform classification. Then there is International Convention on Simplification and Harmonization of Custom Procedures, revised Kyoto Convention or RKC, which was adopted originally in 1974. Its subsequent revision took place in 1999. In 2006, the revised Kyoto Convention came into force. Its key governing principles include transparency and predictability of customs controls, standardization and simplification of the goods, declaration and supporting documents, simplified procedures for authorized persons, maximum use of information technology, minimum necessary custom control to ensure compliance with regulations, use of risk management and audit-based controls, coordinated interventions with other border agencies, and a partnership with the trade. It is often confused with the Kyoto Protocol, which is a protocol to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, ATA Convention and the Convention on Temporary Admission, also known as Istanbul Convention. Both the ATA Convention and the Istanbul Convention are WCO instruments governing temporary admission of goods. The ATA system allows movement of goods across frontiers freely and their temporary admission into a customs territory with relief from duties and taxes. The goods are covered by a single document known as ATA Carnet that is secured by an international guarantee system. The Arusha Declaration on Custom Integrity was adopted in 1993 and revised in 2003. A non-binding instrument, the Arusha Declaration, which provides a number of basic principles to promote integrity and combat corruption within customs administration. The SAFE framework of standards to secure and facilitate global trade was adopted in 2005. It is a non-binding instrument which talks about supply chain security and facilitation standards for goods being traded internationally, enabling integrated supply chain management for all modes of transport, strengthening of networking arrangements between customs administrations to improve their capability to detect high-risk consignments, etc. Elected by the WCO membership to a 5-year term, the head of the WCO Secretariat is a Secretary General. The Council is the governing body of the WCO. Its main role is to bring together once a year all members of the organization in a meeting are chaired by an elected chairperson. Additional strategic and management guidance is provided by Policy Commission and the Finance Committee. Several WCO committees such as the Harmonized System Committee, the Permanent Technical Committee, the Technical Committee on Custom Valuation, Technical Committee on Rules of Origin, the Capacity Building Committee and the SAFE Working Group provide a platform for developing instruments and best practices on customs competencies. Asian Trade Promotion Forum, that is ATPF, a collection of trade promotion organizations or TPOs in the Asian region. The ATPF was established in 1987, currently having 24 members. Enforcement of trade in the region through information exchange to strengthen networks among ATPF members and implementation of cooperative projects is the objective of ATPF. Once in a year, CEO meetings and working level meetings are held. Members also actively carry out capacity building initiative program, joint exhibition and various cooperative projects. The main activities: CEO meetings, timely discussions of issues regarding international trade promotion and other relevant matters, including the results of joint projects and plans for future events, is held by CEOs of member TPOs once a year. Meetings are organized and planned by the chair or host of the current year, a position held on annual rotation basis by TPO members. Working level meetings. Prior to each year's CEO meeting, JETRO hosts a working level meeting, that is WLM, in Japan to provide an opportunity for member TPOs to confirm the status of joint projects, exchange views and settle details related to the CEO meeting. Joint projects. ATPF joint exhibitions. It works with an objective of providing companies in the Asia Pacific region with a practical and effective platform so that they can explore business opportunities in the internal market and to promote closer working cooperation among member TPOs. Specialized committee was set up by the ATPF for exhibitions named as ATPF Exhibition Industry Committee or AEIC so as to strengthen ATPF's effort in joint exhibitions. The ATPF joint exhibition has been held every other year since 2004. Capacity Building Initiative Program. The Capacity Building Initiative Program or CBIP was set up for assistance of ATPF member TPOs with special guidance for emerging economies and development of human resources. Domestic trade promotion organizations. Every nation has its own trade promotion body. The table here represents a few examples. In this table, in one column we have the nation or the region, and the another column there has been shown the trade promotion organization of that region. Here we have the country Australia, Bangladesh, Brunei, Cambodia, China, Chinese, Taipei, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Japan, then Korea, Laos, Macau, Malaysia, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, New Zealand, Pakistan, Philippines, then Singapore, Sri Lanka, Thailand and Vietnam. Below we discuss India Trade Promotion Organization or ITPO as a case study of domestic trade promotion organizations. India Trade Promotion Organization. It is headquartered at Pragati Maidan, New Delhi. It comes under the aegis of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the Government of India. It is a nodal agency for promoting countries' external trade. By merger of Trade Development Authority or TDA and Trade Fair Authority of India TFAI, India Trade Promotion Organization was incorporated with effect from 1st January 1992. The ITPO has existed for more than 3 decades and has proactively played a role of a catalyst in trade, investment and technology transfer process. Organization of fairs and exhibitions in India and abroad, buyer-seller meets, contact promotion programs, product promotion programs and promotion through overseas department stores, market surveys and dissemination of information are its promotional tools. A central public sector enterprise, that is CPSC, with 100% shareholding of Government of India, the ITPO is a mini Ratna of category 1, upgraded by Department of Public Enterprises in 2015 due to continuous profit and robust past performance. ITPO is one of India's best agencies for international affairs and is on the verge of starting a major convention center in Delhi, as the capital does not have a venue where international conferences could be held, as endorsed by Commerce and Industry Ministry Nirmala Sitharaman in September 2015. ITPO headquartered at Pragati Maidan is a hub of exhibition complex in New Delhi, which is spread over an area of 123.5 acres and has established it as a renowned destination for holding exhibitions, conventions, seminars, business meets and other trade promotion activities. The present infrastructure of Pragati Maidan includes about 65,000 square meters where more than 16 exhibition halls are present, out of which 40,000 square meters is an air-conditioned space with additional open space of 32,000 square meters. Also with seating capacity for 500 plus persons, a modern air-conditioned food plaza is its home, open and covered auditoriums with a combined capacity for 5,500 and 1,000 persons respectively, lounge areas, business center facilities, etc. are also available. Industry, various ministries, government departments and state governments to present their policies, initiatives and achievements by supporting or holding exhibitions, conventions and other trade related events are its frequent visitors and users. ITPO has an extensive infrastructure as well as marketing and information facilities that are availed by both exporters and importers. ITPO had overseas offices at New York, Frankfurt, Tokyo, Moscow, Sao Paulo for pursuing opportunities for enhancement of India's trade and investment. However, all overseas offices are now closed by ITPO. Main activities: managing the extensive trade fair complexes, Pragati Maidan, organization of various trade fairs and exhibition at its exhibition complex in Pragati Maidan as well as other centers in India, participating in overseas trade fairs and exhibitions, acts as a facilitator in using Pragati Maidan for holding of trade fairs and exhibitions by other fair organizers both from India and abroad, establishing durable contracts between Indian suppliers and overseas buyers, encouragement of export promotion efforts of micro, small and medium scale units, electronic accessibility for trade information services, organizing buyer-seller meets and other exclusive India shows with a view to bringing buyers and sellers together. Let us summarize what we have learnt from this module. Today, foreign trade has become an important part of our lives. The entire world is on the verge of becoming a global village and each citizen a global citizen. Given this current situation of high interdependence, the role of international organizations for trade promotion is something whose existence is inevitable. The present module precisely establishes this fact while dwelling deep into what are the characteristics of each of these institutions. That's all with this module. Thank you.